Imagine a world that has completely changed. A landscape in which silence has taken over what was once the hub of life. Suddenly, an anonymous individual appeared near a wide lake, carrying an exotic weapon on his shoulder and hiding his identity behind a mask. His focus turned to a drone diving into the lake's depths. He ran to the crash site without wasting a beat. As he approached, the drone occurred to life, ejecting glowing threads into the water that tied themselves into elaborate designs, eventually transforming into a man named Max. The drone then uploaded a lifetime of memories into Max's memory, including moments of falling in love with Anna, marrying her, having a daughter named Zoe, and vivid flashbacks of alien invasions. Max was suddenly underwater, stressing to understand his aquatic environment. He clawed his way to the surface and swam towards the shore while the drone kept an eye on him, tranquilizing him with a dart for a rapid health check. After the examination, the drone validated Max's identification. Our protagonist then came into a landscape straight out of a dystopian film. The remains of an alien spacecraft and towering ruins in the desert. It became obvious that running was useless. Shortly afterwards, a guy and a woman emerged from the lake, equally confused. When Alex saw his reflection, he was taken aback. Meanwhile, the drone resumed its monitoring, using a dart to disclose Alex's name. The three of them, Sarah included, exchanged confused greetings, but their tales appeared to come from other worlds. Their accounts of the alien invasion varied. Alex looked abnormally young for his age, 67. The drone broke up their chat abruptly, revealing a startling revelation. 400 years had passed since humanity had been wiped out by an alien invasion commanded by the Karak Empire. As they faced the terrible truth of their circumstances, they discovered that they had been raised from the dead and had had their genetic makeup altered to suit the new planet. They had no idea that an enigmatic spectator had been observing the entire time. Another twist revealed by the drone. They were the creation of the Sparks, a group of bioengineers who were experts at turning the elements surrounding them into human form. The drone proves to be an indication of hope, demonstrating a place called the Settlement, a shelter for those who have been given a second chance at life. Max, Alex, and Sarah seize the opportunity to reunite with people from their past, catching the Sparks in a temporary container and chasing the drone's lead. On the way, Max is assaulted by a surge of recollections from the invasion, recalling the struggle to travel around Washington, D.C. without the internet. Determined to protect his family, he swears to guide them to safety. Alex tries to break the ice with Sarah, but she's a vault who keeps her past hidden. Their trek takes them to a frightening landmark, gigantic metal rings. The covered figure follows them closely, armed and dangerous. Alex rushes to the rings filled with reckless bravery, only to be shocked as he touches one, leaving him with frightening visions. In an unexpected turn, a gunshot kills the drone, and Alex is hit by a dart. The armed stalker identifies himself as their hunter. Max's fast thinking turns the tables on their adversary, revealing him to be Jax, a so-called skin rider who carries a glowing parasite around his neck. Jax is keeping quiet about the ring's signs, but he is highly interested in the Sparks. As Max is distracted by looking at a ring sign, Jax seizes the opportunity and attacks Max, grabbing his weapon. Sarah steps up, revolver in hand, and orders Jax to back down. Jax's underestimation of Sarah's resolve backfires as she stands her ground, weapon aimed and ready. They are able to bound Jax, but before they can escape, he dumps a bombshell on Max. He knows where his brother is. A flashback shows Max rescuing his little brother Silas during the extraterrestrial attacks. With Jax left behind, the trio continues on towards the settlement, unknowing of the Skin Rider's unique communication via parasites. Jax is quickly liberated by his companions, including a startling face, Silas, who is now aware that his brother is alive. Meanwhile, the three seek refuge in a cave, as Alex's condition worsens owing to a dart-induced fever. In desperation, they dump the Sparks into a puddle, and Alex recovers magically the next morning. They uncover a shortcut through the cave, reducing their travel time. Sarah hints at a dark past during a heart-to-heart with Max, but their conversation is cut short when Skin Riders ambush them. Max holds them off, allowing Sarah and Alex to flee to the settlement. In an unbelievable encounter, Silas confronts Max, intent on transforming him into one of their own. Back at the settlement, Sarah and Alex break through its defenses, greeted by a drone that neutralizes two Skin Riders in pursuit and saves Max from Silas. They find refuge within the settlement's walls, impervious to the Skin Riders' attacks. Inside, they have to deal with the truth that the settlement is far from the ideal shelter they envisioned. as evidenced by Max's discovery of a bracelet bearing the sign from the metal ring. A flashback shows Max, Silas, Lynn, and their daughter Kylie taking refuge at their grandparents' house during the chaos of the alien invasion. The plot takes a curious turn when the cabin, which was supposed to be a shelter, shows nothing but an intriguing snail shell device printed with the same mysterious symbol discovered on both the bracelet and the metal ring. The suspense comes as the drone discovers 134 tombs distributed over the settlement's grounds. Returning to the past, a flashback shows Max and Silas among the ruins of Washington following the alien blast. Returning to their safe haven, Max informs Anna that he is determined to find their parents. With the grid down and out, Anna demands Silas accompany Max, refusing to allow him go out alone. However, this just increases the brothers' long-standing conflict, with Max viewing Silas as a liability rather than a lifeline. When faced with the sad truth of no live humans in the settlement, Max decides to take action, knocking on a guarded metal door with a rod. Their guide, a yellow drone, leads them into the bunkers, revealing that it arrived a year after a devastating disease killed the previous human inhabitants. The mystery intensifies as Sarah develops symptoms of the same fatal sickness. Their only chance of survival is dependent on the Sparks developing a vaccine. What's the mission? Head to a nearby lake to gather the necessary components, all while avoiding the ever-present menace of skin riders. Sarah's condition worsens, so she stays behind as Max and Alex, with the yellow drone in tow, continue on this life-or-death mission. Meanwhile, Duncan is under attack by skin riders, only to be apprehended when Silas notices Duncan's parasite does not quite match the bill. It is dull and lacks the normal terrifying glow. Driven by curiosity, they return the defector Duncan to their refuge. The skin riders' ranks are alerted to two humans slipping through the settlement's defenses, with Silas pressing Duncan to lead the charge against them, which causes Jack's concern. On their way to the lake, Max and Alex question the yellow drone about their unusual revival, only to meet a wall. The drone hints at a shadowy someone pulling the strings from behind the curtain. With the drone searching the sky for hazards, the couple continues on, exposing their pre-invasion identities. Max as a soldier and Alex as a psychiatric therapist. They reach the lake and release the Sparks into its depths to create the vaccinations. Back at the settlement, Sarah manages to restart the red drone before dying of her illness. As she collapses, she is greeted by the image of Anna, Max's wife, who is initially misidentified as a real person, until discovering it is a holographic AI sent by the drone for assistance. As Sarah drifts in and out of consciousness, the AI casts an image of Duncan, offering assistance. By the water's edge, Max tells Alex the heartbreaking truth. Silas is now a skin rider. Max holds out hope that the Sparks would liberate Silas from the parasite's influence, but Alex tells him that Silas may no longer view Max as a brother. Their chat is interrupted short by an urgent update from the yellow drone, which warns them about approaching skin riders. The drone advises Max and Alex to separate, with Alex following a mini scout drone back to the settlement, and Max preparing to meet Silas. Max, unaware of the breadth of the parasite's communication network, launches an ambush on Silas, only to be soon ringed and captured by Jax and his team. Max regains consciousness in the skin rider's lair and finds himself under Silas's watchful observation. As he listens to his brother, it becomes evident that the skin riders are united by a deep-seated philosophy that reveres the parasites as gates to connecting human intellect. A flashback shows Max, in a desperate hunt for their parents, coming across a fallen alien vessel and the poisonous pink fog it releases, which causes partial blindness. Fortunately, Silas finds him and gets him back to safety. Back in the present, Max begs Silas to accompany him for treatment by the Sparks, weeping for their past conflicts. Silas secretly urges Max to flee, seizing the opportunity when the parasite's hold decreases. Max makes a dash for it without hesitation, finally rejoining Alex by the lake. After obtaining the vaccination and other supplies, they race back to the settlement. The episode ends with Sarah waking up in the settlement, her condition improving thanks to the vaccine. The story then switches to a horrifying vision of Sarah on a devastated battleground, observing Carrick's spacecraft wreaking destruction on humanity. She notices Duncan, who is injured and taking cover. This vision abruptly returns to the settlement, with Sarah caught up in a flood of memories from her past. Meanwhile, the yellow drone encourages Alex to go deeper into the settlement's mysteries, guiding him to a door bathed in a magnificent white radiance and inviting him to see what lies behind it. A look into Sarah's past reveals her role in a big scam with Gregory Palmer, her fiancé and business partner. Left to face consequences on her own, she ends up in prison. After being released, Her request for assistance in locating Gregory is coldly refused by FBI agent James Duncan. In the present timeline, Max shows Sarah a discovery, a bracelet bearing the familiar symbol seen on the rings, which he recalls seeing at his parents' house during the alien assault. Their deep plunge into the past is abruptly interrupted by Alex, who is practically dragging them to view his latest discovery. Despite Max's warnings, Alex yanks away the obstacles that were blocking a curious hallway he discovered earlier. Alex gets pushed by a gut impulse to fling the door wide open, revealing an enormous stone structure known as the obelisk, which looks like it instantly syncs with him. Meanwhile, back at the Skin Rider camp, Silas throws Duncan into a temporary cage, revealing intentions to repair his weakened parasite and tighten their hold on him. Silas then issues a challenge, putting Duncan against Jax, the most ruthless of the Skin Rider gang. To everybody's surprise, Duncan dodges and weaves, delivering hits with ease, thanks to the parasite impairing Jax's reflexes. Silas muses that the only solution is a high-tech brain operation that requires the precision of a drone to execute. Over at the settlement, Alex begins decoding the code of messages flashing across the obelisk, which hint at a buried weapon east of their base and the promise of reviving more humanity in exchange. Although Max is doubtful, Sarah encourages them that increasing their numbers is critical to their survival. Armed only with a bow and arrows, Max sets off with the yellow drone in search of this enigmatic weapon, wondering if the drone had purposefully brought Alex to the door. However, the drone keeps its cards close, avoiding questions about its creators and the spark's origins. Flashback. Duncan decides to assist Sarah in her search for Gregory Palmer, becoming a partnership. Sarah uses her cyber-sleuthing skills to track Gregory down in Singapore, tipping off the FBI. Meanwhile, the yellow drone directs Max to the precise location where the weapon is kept, ready to reveal what lies beneath. While Max searches for the weapon, an unseen Skin Rider spy monitors their movements and swiftly alerts the rest of the gang to their whereabouts. The yellow drone informs Max that they are going to discover a powerful gadget meant to take out Skin Riders. Max initially hesitates, fearful for his brother Silas's safety. However, the drone makes it clear. The only way to rid someone of the infection is to kill both the host and the parasite. Max, with no other option, snatches the weapon from the ground. Over at the Skin Riders' hangout, Jax teams up with a few others to steal Max and the drone for their bizarre brain-tampering experiment. Meanwhile, Silas has Duncan drink water from the springs, believing it may heal Duncan's bruised ally. Back at the settlement, Sarah gets to know Lynn's hologram better, realizing that she is Max's spouse. Their technical discussion pushes them to put the red drone back into action. Sarah then expresses her desire to reconcile with Duncan, despite his new Skin Rider position and her own deep-seated sorrows. The scene returns to Max, who gets scared by the drone's warning of approaching Skin Riders. Max hesitantly passes over the discovered weapon, whose actual power is unknown to the Skin Riders. When one of them touches the weapon and dies, Max takes advantage of the pandemonium, knocking out the others and fleeing with the help of a drone. In the settlement, Max is suspicious of the obelisk, although Alex is extremely fascinated. The obelisk attempts to convince Max by showing a hologram of Lynn, implying that it can resurrect her and their daughter. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe to our channel to catch the upcoming episode, which concludes with Sarah desperately seeking assistance as Duncan collapses. Suddenly, a red drone appears, injects Sarah with a dart, and starts extracting her memories.